I'm Angel, 28. Standing on the stage of my Wharton MBA graduation, I watched as my parents' faces turned ashen. My younger sister, Lily, froze with her champagne glass halfway to her lips, her eyes wide with shock. They had no idea I'd graduated from Wharton with top honors, let alone that I'd secured the prestigious Thompson Family Scholarship and a position at JP Morgan. As I stepped off the stage, I remembered the long-standing pain and the silent vow I'd made. It all started when I was 5 and Lily was born. Our family lived in a cozy 3-bedroom house in suburban Boston. My father, Henry, was a mid-level manager at a manufacturing company, and my mother, Olivia, worked part-time as a librarian. At first, I was thrilled to have a baby sister, helping decorate her nursery with stars and moons. But as the years went on, things shifted. At 15, I asked for a tablet to help with schoolwork. My parents said it was too expensive. A month later, they bought Lily, then 10, an elaborate dollhouse. When I questioned it, my mother said, "You're so mature, Angel. Lily needs these little pleasures more." That became the pattern. In high school, I maintained a 3.9 GPA, served as vice president of the student council, and led the math team to regional championships. My parents' reaction was always the same, a faint smile and, "That's nice, dear," before turning their attention to Lily's drawings or dance steps. At 17, I asked for a car. They told me to get a job. I saved for a year working at a local coffee shop to buy a battered Ford Focus. When Lily turned 17, they handed her keys to a brand new BMW. "Lily is more delicate," my father explained. "She needs something safer." By senior year, the disparity was impossible to ignore. I applied to 10 prestigious universities, stayed up late writing scholarship essays, and worked 25 hours a week. I received acceptance letters from Stanford, MIT, and Harvard. I thought my parents would finally be proud. Instead, my father sat me down and said, "We're proud of you, but we can't afford these schools. You should consider a state college." I remembered my grandfather, George, once saying he had set money aside for me. When I asked, my parents claimed it had been spent on family emergencies. That night, I cried myself to sleep and promised myself I would find my own way. I enrolled at the University of Massachusetts, the only option within reach using my scholarship and savings. I juggled a full course load while working 35 hours a week between the library and a local diner. During my junior year, I came home for Christmas. At dinner, Lily casually announced she'd been accepted to NYU, with my mother proudly adding they had already paid her deposit and rented her an apartment in Manhattan. I was stunned. "How can you afford this when you couldn't help me?" I asked. My father cleared his throat and said they'd taken out a loan. The next semester, I added finance and accounting courses to my computer science major. I excelled, and by the end of the year, I switched my major to finance. At home during spring break, I secretly searched through their study. I found bank records, investment statements, and a letter from my grandfather confirming an $80,000 trust fund for my education. My hands shook. They had lied. Over the next year, I became a detective in my own family's finances. I discovered they had diverted my fund into home renovations and Lily's expenses. After graduating from UMass, I enrolled in advanced finance courses at a local college while working full-time. At the same time, I secured a 2-year internship at a small investment bank, where I worked on financial analyses and client reports. To my parents, it looked like I was drifting. In truth, I was preparing myself for the next step. In one advanced class, I caught the attention of Professor Smith, a former Wall Street trader. After I aced his exam, he told me, "You have a natural talent for this. With your drive, you could go much higher." Under his mentorship, I applied to MBA programs in secret. While I was working and studying, Lily graduated from NYU with average grades and no job offers. My parents funded her string of failed ventures, including a jewelry startup that folded within months. Then the letter came. I had been accepted to Wharton's MBA program with a full scholarship from the Thompson family, major donors to the school. Over 2 years, I thrived. I earned top marks, built a network, and interned at JP Morgan, where I later secured a full-time offer. I kept my progress hidden, telling my family only that I was taking classes in Philadelphia. But when graduation neared, I decided they needed to see me succeed. I sent a short email inviting them to the ceremony. When my name was called, and I was announced as both the scholarship recipient and a new hire at JP Morgan, their shock was palpable. That evening, I gathered them for dinner alongside my grandfather and the Thompsons. Over a toast to education and truth, I laid out everything I had uncovered: the trust fund, the bank records, and the choices they had made. My father muttered excuses about complex financial decisions. My mother wept. "You were always so capable, Angel." Lily needed more support. I looked at them and said, "You made me independent because you gave me no choice." Lily, pale and shaken, asked, "Did you really take money from Angel's fund for me?" When they nodded, she whispered, "I'm so sorry. I had no idea." After that night, my parents' messages swung between anger and regret. But gradually, small gestures of change appeared. My father once called to ask if I could review Lily's resume. My mother texted me late one evening, "I reread one of your essays from high school. You really were remarkable. I should have told you then." 6 months later, I was thriving at JP Morgan, managing new clients and planning for the future. I even started a college fund for any future children, Lily's or mine, determined to break the cycle of favoritism. At my grandparents' 50th anniversary, the family gathered again. There was still tension, but there was also effort. My mother, voice trembling, said, "I may never be the mother you deserved, but I'm trying to be better." Looking back, I realized the betrayal that once broke me had also made me strong. True freedom comes from independence and building relationships with those who truly value you. Family is still family, but I've learned that relationships must be defined by respect, not by blood alone.